What's up, everybody? Good late morning. We are moving on to another position today. We are going to be doing safety, specifically free safety. Although there are a couple things we need to keep in mind as we go through this, as we talk about the safety position. Keep in mind that McDonald wants his safeties to be relatively ubiquitous in their skill set. He wants them both to be able to do box safety and free safety stuff. So the distinction is not that big of a deal. Now, I did decide to separate things out the best that I could into free safeties and later strong safeties, but just keep in mind it doesn't matter as much as it normally would because we're not trying to strictly define our players the way we used to. Now we're trying to have freedom to have either guy fill either role from snap to snap so we can throw more exotic looks at offenses. But anyway, free safety. As of right now, you've got Kobe Bryant. I consider him to be our free safety. Although, again, he does strong safety stuff too, just like Julian Love does both. But if you want to try to silo it a little bit, you'd go Kobe Bryant, and backing him up right now is AJ Finley, I guess. We don't really have one, honestly, right? Like, last year, it was going to be Kayvon Wallace, probably, but he got hurt, didn't play that much. So you had three safeties, Love, Bryant, and Rayshawn. And Rayshawn, we all know, is going to be gone, but for the moment, he is still under contract. So you have three safeties that you probably feel at least passably well about, but we need that fourth safety. We need at least a backup for Kobe. And let's not forget that Kobe Bryant is on the last year of his deal and has only really played good for about 10 games, 10, 11 games. Before then, he was just a middling slot corner. And it could be a flash in the pan. Like, I don't think that it is, but let's not count anything out. So we should explore the possibility of bringing in another safety. We are going to start at the top with the guys who are going to get paid high amounts. These are guys who are going to get paid like they're stars. I don't know if they're all stars yet, but they're young. They played very well so far in their careers, and there's going to be a lot of money out there for them. So these are guys that you would sign if you're really trying to take a big swing at the position, which I don't think we will. Let's keep in mind that Julian Love's under contract for a while. He's going to be a Seahawk for a minute. So that spot is taken for at least a couple of years. And I imagine that if we wanted to take a big swing at safety, we do what I would do, what I did in my mock draft earlier this morning, and do it in the draft. But let's explore the options. Let's take a look at some names here, because you never know who slips through the cracks and might end up being cheaper than you expect. Okay, so Cameron Bynum is our first man up here, Minnesota Vikings. By the way, all three of these players we're going to look at in this video are players that are coming off the fourth year of their rookie deal. They're all players that are hitting the end of their rookie deal. So they're all in a similar position in terms of age and player progression. The age is going to be a little different from player to player, but it's the same basic idea. Bynum is going to turn 27 this offseason, so he should be hitting his prime. Fourth round pick. He's started every game for the past 3 seasons. He's been consistently good. Obviously, you're going to look better in Brian Flores' elite Vikings defense last year, which I would say that he did, but everybody else did too. That's not necessarily reflective of him, but he's been good for these last few years. He's been a really good, important part of that defense, and he should be able to provide pretty much whatever we're looking for if we were to go after him. PFF thinks he was about average last year, but still pretty good on over 1,000 snaps. Only allowed 27 catches in coverage, by the way, which from PFF, that is a very low number. That's really good. Worth noting. Year before that, where he was also a full-time starter, 1,100 snaps, his PFF grade was really good, 73.2. So there's definitely a track record here. You have multiple years of good play, multiple years of him starring, had almost 140 tackles in 2023. So all that's left is to give him a big contract and let him go to work in his prime. He is probably about to become one of those Pro Bowl caliber guys that plays at a level of, top 5, top 10 at least, if you consider all safeties. at the position, and somebody's going to end up paying a lot of money to get that. So Botrack thinks it's going to be $17.7 million a year. That's 3 years, $53.2 million. That would make him one of the highest paid safeties in the league. That's not quite what Winfield Jr. got, but it's not far off, which admittedly I don't love, because I think Winfield Jr. is a much better player than Bynum. So I understand it's a year later, and I understand that's how this works, but the idea of giving a player who I think is significantly less than Winfield Jr. close to Winfield Jr. money doesn't make me feel great, but that's how the market goes. And he is a very good player, and we probably haven't seen the best from him yet. He's probably going to be a like I said, a top 10 overall safety over the next few years, and this is the price if you want to get in on that. We have Trayvon Marrig, Trayvon Marrig, Raider. Another guy coming off his rookie deal, was a second-round pick in 2021. Little bit of a bigger guy, going to turn 26 in June, and he has played almost every game over the last 4 seasons. He missed 2 games in 2022, but he has consistently been an impact presence on that Raiders defense. Has 5 interceptions over the last 2 years, 18 pass breakups, 3 sacks, and almost 190 tackles. So he's been good on defenses where he doesn't have a lot of talent around him. You've got Max Crosby and Malcolm Nunes, and some okay linebackers, and that's about it. So he's the finger in the dike in a lot of ways here. So Trayvon Marrig, PFF, thought he was pretty good last year, above average, 67.5 on 1,100 snaps, which is pretty strong, indicates that he can handle the full load of a season. And the year before that, 70.2, also quite good on 1,100 snaps. So he's out there a lot. He's out there kind of on his own, it feels like, because the Raiders don't have other good players in that secondary in particular. They have not been a good team. The offense doesn't help the defense out, and yet he holds his own in most areas. So he's really good. Botrack says $15.7 million over 3 years. So that's 3 years, $47.2 million. Which, again, that's a little bit less than Bynum, and is probably more in the realm of something that I would feel okay about. I personally don't really want to splurge big on a safety regardless, especially not these guys. Like, I would have done it last year for Winfield, because I think he is that good. I would have spent $20 million a year on Winfield. These guys, even if it's a little bit less, like if you could get Marrig for $15 million a year, if you could do that, I'd still be like, well, is he that big of a game changer? He might be, but I don't know. And part of the reason why I don't know is because he's been on bad teams, but that doesn't change the fact that I don't know. So I'm not a big fan of this, but somebody out there is probably going to be pretty happy with Marrig. So that's the cost. That's the performance. So I can't hate on it. Like, he's played a lot over the last 4 years, and he's produced pretty well, and he's done good things on teams where he has to really carry the load, but not quite the level of safety I'm looking for if I'm going to be spending 15 mil a year plus. It's just not. Okay, one more guy for this video, and then we'll be moving on to the next tier in the next video. Jevon Holland, another second-round pick of a few years ago. Been on the Miami Dolphins, former Oregon Duck. He has played a lot of football over the last 4 years. He's missed a handful of games the last 2 years, but he's still been productive. He's still been an impactful presence. 300 tackles over his time as a Dolphin across 4 different seasons, 5 sacks, 25 pass breakups. So he's putting up the numbers that you like to see, taking the ball away a little bit. Had 3 forced fumbles in 2023, which wasn't the league leader, but it was quite close. And he's just another guy who's out there grinding, doing his job. And guess what? He isn't even 25 yet. So the upside here might even be higher. He's not even close to his prime. He's probably 2 seasons away from his prime if you assume a normal, typical progression for his career. So Jevon Holland might be the upside signing, where you take a little bit of a risk on a guy who hasn't done quite as much as the other two guys, but is younger and has more that he can grow into. Maybe. Hard to figure sometimes. PFF says he was about average last year, 63 grade, 854 snaps. Keep in mind the Dolphins lost most of their defensive talent from 2023 to 2024. A lot of it left in free agency, so Holland was left as one of the top guys remaining. And the year before that, when there was actually good players around him, he was one of the best safeties in the league by PFF. 90.4, top 3 safety ranked, 700 snaps, which that's a decent chunk of the season missed, but it's not so much that you discount the impact of 90.4. That indicates he is doing something remarkable from snap to snap that isn't even captured by raw statistics. So Javon Holland, very good player, lot of good stuff to offer. And Spotrac actually says you're going to get him for a little bit less than the other two guys. 4 years, $60.2 million, $15.1 million a year. This one I might have a little bit of interest in. This one I could see. I like this one a little bit more than the others. It is a little bit cheaper, but I feel like you're taking a bigger swing, and the reward if you hit is greater. I think this guy has higher upside because of his youth, and I think this guy has shown that he can be one of the best safeties in the league in a way that the other guys haven't. So those are your 3 options if you want to spend big at safety. I don't think a lot of Seahawks fans are going to want to, but it should always be explored. And I'll say it again. If the team did decide, let's go splurge on Javon Holland, not going to be mad about it because I think he could be worth that money. Okay. See you guys later. Go Hawks. Everyone, have a good day. Another free safety video coming soon. See you soon.